Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of our program. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Mark Sears, who is the founder and CEO of CloudFactory. Mark, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. Excited to be here.
Hey, so give us a little thumbnail sketch of your background and what led you to this, start this business, and then what the focus of the business is.
Certainly. I am a computer science guy, or I guess you could call me a computer geek, more informally. True. So I was my education and the early part of my career was working at different startups in Canada and the U.S., and it was actually back in 2008 that my wife and I found ourselves for a beautiful 2-week vacation in Kathmandu, Nepal, and surrounding parts of Nepal, where we fell in love with the country and the people, and we met some really smart, talented young computer engineers, ended up staying for a couple of weeks to train them on a particular programming language, and ended up getting a project, a second project, and kept extending that 2-week vacation. Ended up living for 6 years in
Nepal. Oh, my word.
We had a couple kids, and we also had a tech startup. And so CloudFactory was born out of, really, I think discovering the reality that talent is equally distributed all over the world, but opportunity is definitely not. And so we were excited to be, a part of providing opportunities to talented people in places like Nepal, and we've since expanded CloudFactory to Kenya and kind of, there's so many talent hotspots and pockets around the world, and we believe that technology is really leveling the playing field. And as much as we talk about a flat world, it's not quite there yet, but we're doing our part to try and really connect talented people around the world to really power a lot of the operations and kind of the routine, repetitive work for growing businesses. Specifically, a lot of venture-backed tech companies is kind of our sweet spot. So we power the back end at CloudFactory for companies like Expensify and Ibotta and Mattermark and many, many others, great tech companies that they have different work they need to get done that can't be automated, but it also doesn't make sense for them necessarily to hire a big full-time team. It is routine work, and so we use a combination of people and technology to really scale out different features, and we end up processing millions of receipts and invoices and tag images and transcribe audio video files and just lots of work like that at scale on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. So it's 24/7 factory operating in the cloud, where people are sending work up to the cloud factory and receiving it back in minutes. And that's our world and how we came to be.
Yeah, I love that, and I want to kind of back all the way up to right at that beginning, because it made me think of something that I want to clarify, because if I'm thinking correctly of what you said, it's really exciting to see how a business starts up. So you're in Nepal, and a project comes up, and you're like, cool, let's do this, and then it's like, well, hey, we should do this or add on this, and then it becomes this, add a little lump of clay here and a little lump here, and then, well, I need this, and all of a sudden you have a business, and it's like, well, if here's a need that we're noticing, maybe there's more need, and then let me add some more, and then here's another project. So in other words, you weren't looking to start CloudFactory as it exists today. It just kind of came about because you were putting one foot in front of the other.
Absolutely, yeah. That true evolution of discovering both, significant resource that was just talent that's disconnected from the global economy, and then just significant demand from companies that need to get, they need to find a better way to get work done. And that's exactly. It was just, and then really the other thing is being born out of personal relationship. So way back when we were on that vacation, it was the opportunity of, hey, I've been given a lot of opportunities. I want to give back, and so I want to give back, and I can train these guys, and I can do something there. And then when we started the company, it was actually out of relationship, because a good friend of mine who's Nepali, we actually came to visit his family during that 2-week vacation. he'd been working overseas, like many, many people in places like Nepal. They have to leave their country, leave their families, leave their communities, and work abroad. And so he worked for 2 years abroad and got to come back every 2 months to be with his family. And that was that cycle where he got to come back and meet his son for the first time in 2 years. So his first time he's meeting his 2-year-old son. And so for me, my friend was getting ready to go back to be away for another 2 years. And so that project came up, and it was like, well, maybe we could just hire him and these smart developers and create a little business. And so it was, like you said, started very, very small and evolved, but the fundamentals, hold true today.
And the type of work that specific project that you were having him do, it wasn't coding intricate code. It was kind of virtual assistant type work where it could be easily trained.
No, it's a great question. So actually, back in 2008 to 2010, we were doing coding. So we were a Ruby on Rails software boutique, and we were helping startups in North America build their minimum viable products. We were helping them build their software. And what happened was, as you kind of talked about, the need came where they said, this is fantastic. So they would raise some seed capital. They would hire us as kind of their extended remote development team. They would build a great initial product. And then they want to raise more capital. And time again, our customers in that 2 years kept coming back to us because they had the software, but they needed data. They needed to tag data, scrub data, categorize data, do different things to really make their business come alive. And one particular one was a recruitment software. A bunch of NHL players were angel investors in this company that had two things. They built a slick platform that we got to help, so they could actually, you could quickly, search for any player, and you could see all the different fights or goals that they scored, etc., the stats.
Yeah, funny you mentioned fights before goals.
Yeah. I mean, so they licensed all the video. They had tens of thousands of hours worth of amateur hockey video. They had software, but their business model required them to actually tag all of it. So they want us to hire a warehouse filled with people in Nepal to actually watch the video and say, okay, if someone gets in a fight, what are the jersey numbers on the back and what time was that? Someone scores a goal, jersey number and time. And at the time I was offended because it was like, wow, that's not what we do. Like, we're a high-end software boutique. But all of the companies, again, out of that, just like, we can't move forward as a business until we solve this problem. And we need help. And so we realized there just wasn't a good way to do a lot of this work at scale. And we were a tech company, so hey, let's build a technology platform. And it's not just computer engineers here in places like Nepal that are talented, need to get plugged in. There's so many people after we've been living there for a year and a half, 2 years, that were talented and idle, just looking for work. I mean, 30 to 50% unemployment. And so yeah, it really was that, like you said, just little bits of clay adding up until we realized, like, there's a big opportunity here.
Well, and then the other thing that I really like a whole lot is, when you hear about the companies on the Shark Tanks or whatnot, where it's like, hey, for every X widget we make, we donate X back to this third world country, or, we're hiring people in third world countries. So you're, one of the benefits is you're kind of making an economic impact in some nations, in some countries, and people's human lives, like the gentleman you mentioned goes 2 years and comes back for 2 months. What a life change that is for him. And so it really, in my opinion, looking in, goes way past, we built a company, we do this for people, and now we have this bottom line. You're making some really big, social capital impact.
Well, that's what we hope. I mean, that's exactly that's where it started, was out of that desire to to make an impact, to create meaningful work for people that could really, really impact these locations. And again, it wasn't out of feeling sorry for anybody. It wasn't out of anything like that. It was really out of the place of, oh my goodness, you guys are unbelievably smart and hardworking and talented, and I'm a capitalist. You know what I mean? Like, it's that beautiful
balance. And I need an employee like you anyway. May as well pick you because of all these other benefits. So, wow, what a nice revelation that is.
Yeah, a true win-win. And so when we started, the vision of the company is to connect 1 million people to online work. And we knew that in order to achieve a big, hairy, audacious goal like that, we need to build something. We need to innovate, and we have the raw, untapped resource, right? The biggest potential in the world is truly, right now we're in the middle of a decade where 2 billion people are coming online for the first time. So 1 billion people in the last 5 years and another billion in the next 5. So these people are coming online for the first time, and most of them are making less than $2 a day, which is just unheard of, right, for people here in the West. And so it's just this weird, amazing, beautiful opportunity that technology can play a role, but we have to innovate. We have to create the business model, and we have to create the technology, and that's what we've been working on for the last 6 years now.
That's cool. I really like that a lot. Just out of curiosity, do you have anything on your website where there's little profiles of the personal human stories of some of these workers you have? Because I would think that if that's there, or if you're working toward that, boy, as a person looking to outsource work to CloudFactory, it would be really cool to go, oh wow, this guy and his kid, oh, that's really cool.
Absolutely, yeah. So we do that in two ways. One is through individuals that we feature on a specific kind of Instagram-like blog called I Am More.
Nice.
And so we've really been trying to feature. It's just a series. Every week there's a couple of just beautiful photos from our team of seeing them kind of in very candid moments, and just hearing more about their hopes and their dreams and their talents, and just helping people to understand that, just to be able to relate to people actually that, maybe come from a different background and live far away, but there's actually a lot in common that we share. So we've been trying to expose it kind of through that and help people to really understand our workforce. Then we also have community.cloudfactory.com, where you can get a glimpse into some of the really cool things that our workforce is doing. So we've got about 2,500 people in Nepal and Kenya. Most of them are 18 to 30 years old, and they're an army of just amazing impact to the community. So a big part of our kind of culture is that to get out into the community. And so every few weeks, our teams of 5 go out and do community service projects. So there's probably about 2,000 of the 5,000 community service projects we've done in the last 4 years that are featured up there. So we need to get better at it, but we are doing some things to really connect our clients to the people and the activities and the hearts of our workforce, because we do have a lot of technology that kind of goes between our workforce and our clients, but it's something that we're working on.
Yeah, I mean, it most definitely sounds like you are. It's, no one's ever there. You always are a work in progress, but I like how you're spotlighting and propping up, the people that are working for you, and showing how, they're impacted by working for you, as well as the new people coming on that would look at using your company and be like, I love the vibe of just, having workers that when they get a fair wage, it transforms and totally impacts their lives. I think that is just really cool. So let's wrap up with a final thought/question, which is, when you're mentioning tech or tech startups, what should be a trigger thought that would make them go, yeah, I need CloudFactory because they do this and we need that?
Yeah, it's a great question. What we see time and time again is companies that are trying to grow and trying to scale, and they have a certain feature that it just has a gap that requires humans. So we deal with a lot of tech and software companies, and so they often have a certain feature where they need some human help at scale to really power it, and so that's really kind of that key moment where people realize that technology isn't enough, but they also can't think of a way that they could scalably hire people or even kind of use traditional outsourcing to fill that gap. And so CloudFactory is an on-demand workforce that we work with a lot of product managers and engineering and operations people who have to really make things scale in terms of operations. And so we're that great scalable workforce that can plug in, work really well with tech, and help companies grow. And then that's what we've been doing for a lot of clients, and growing very quickly the last few years.
Awesome. Well, what's the best way for people to learn more about CloudFactory?
The best way is to come straight on the website. So cloudfactory.com is a great resource to see some of the clients and how we're helping them, and see a list of a lot of different use cases that our workforce is fantastically suited for. And you can immediately jump in and create what we call a work stream and begin talking with one of our solution specialists, in your particular case, and send over samples or show us exactly what you're doing right now, and looking to maybe scale it up and take it to the next level. And so yeah, that's the best way to engage and learn more.
Perfect. Well, I love it. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful getting to know you and your vision, your company, and just really appreciate taking time today to get to know you.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate it as well.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.